we always say that coaches and scouts and experts, they've always had the opportunity to pursue whatever player they wanted. Coaches could find a player, they can get their information pretty easily, they can pursue the player. And we're trying to flip that script and allow players to actually pursue the coach and pursue the scout, pursue the expert that they want to talk to specifically.
I'm Larry Sprung, your host for the Mitlin Money Mindset and founder and wealth advisor of Mitlin Financial. Today's guest is Lucas Bahn, co founder of Player Intro. Lucas Bahn is a forward thinking entrepreneur who has made a significant impact in the world of sports technology. As the co founder of Player Intro, Lucas has helped create a platform that revolutionizes the way athletes and teams connect with fans, recruiters, and coaches. Player Intro provides athletes with a dynamic way to showcase their talents, enhancing their visibility and opportunities in the competitive world of sports. With a passion for sports and a keen understanding of digital media, Lucas has played a crucial role in bringing this innovative platform to life. His work at Player Intro reflects his commitment to empowering athletes, specifically hockey players, and transforming how they engage with the broader sports community. Join us as we dive into Lucas Bond's entrepreneurial journey, explore the vision behind Player Intro, and learn how this platform is changing the game for athletes everywhere. Well, I have the pleasure today of being with Lucas Bahn, the co founder of Player Intro. And as you all know, I love talking about the entrepreneurial journey. I love talking about business. And equally, I love talking about hockey. And we're going to spend a lot of time on entrepreneur, business, and hockey today. So, welcome to the show, Lucas.
Hey, thanks for having me, Larry. I'm super excited to be here and talk about what we're doing.
Yeah, listen. As I mentioned, Lucas, I am fascinated by the entrepreneurial journey. I love hearing people's stories, and a lot of times, sometimes they're similar and very different at the same time. So we'll spend a lot of time on Player Intro, but perhaps you could share with our listeners your journey up to founding Player Intro. What were you doing up? What was your journey up until that point?
Yeah, I guess business wise, I studied business management in school. Always had the knack for entrepreneurship, mostly just studying on my own and, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, following people on X, things like that. And I've just always had kind of the bug to pursue something of my own. And I guess that was implanted in me early on with my father, who I saw operate his own business. I saw, all the free time that he had to raise us and be involved in our hockey and our early life. And that was something that I was really passionate about. So, um, started all kinds of things, tried, e-commerce stores, a Shopify store. I had a early on company called Project Sweaty, whose goal was to give back to Athletes Against Anxiety and Depression Foundation. So basically, we sold sweatshirts and donated a large percentage of the revenue to that organization and helping athletes with their mental health. So, like I said, I've always had the bug and absolutely love every day and enjoy it and like pursuing the unknown, I guess, the uncomfortable. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm gonna date this episode, but I think it's relevant based upon what you just said because I was not aware of it. So, although we're listening to this, whenever we're listening to this, we're recording it in September and or August, I should say. This Saturday, so I'm going to give away when we're actually recording this. This Saturday, tomorrow, I'm participating in the 11th annual Hockey Helps Hockey Marathon where I'm going to be skating for 24 hours with my youngest son. And a lot of the charities that are ultimately supported by this game are mental health related, addiction related, and hockey related. So I appreciate what you did in that arena, and I think it's so important and powerful. And I appreciate you continuing to talk about that because it's a very important topic. Before I move on, where did you grow up? Growing up, where did you play hockey? You said your dad attended a lot of your games. Where'd you play growing up?
Yeah, so I started out actually with roller hockey. I grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee, so not a hockey hotbed, and it was before the Predators really got big. There wasn't really support. There was one rink in all of Middle Tennessee for 300 miles, and so started with roller hockey, switched to ice hockey, 11 or 12 ish. Played for the junior Preds organization. Eventually moved away from home at 15 and billeted up in Odenton, Maryland, and then York, Pennsylvania, and played some AAA up there. And then went to the USHL and played for Sioux City Musketeers and Des Moines Bucks in the USHL for a year, and then actually played out in Western Canada for in the BCHL for a year. Had an unbelievable experience out there. That's one of those that you can't replicate with anything. It's just an experience. So that was awesome. Then came back down south and played for UAH before transferring to get my MBA at Niagara University. So yeah, grew up in the Nashville area and had a unique growing up in the South hockey journey, but it all turned out awesome.
Nice. That's a hell of a journey. So, hockey is one of my favorite things to talk about. And, obviously, I think one of the reasons is your involvement in the game, but ultimately, why are you so passionate about the game?
Yeah, I mean, just as simple as it gets, it's given me everything from friendships, long term and short term friendships, family, billet families that I still keep in touch with and talk to, scholarship opportunities, free tuitions, education. You can just go down the line, everything that it's given me, and the passion's been there from the very beginning, and it sticks with me. And it's something that I'd love to always be involved in, whether that's coaching, building companies around it. As a fan, in the future, as a dad, hopefully, just I always want to be around the game just for everything it gave to me and what it gives to so many kids like me.
So, you talked about a fan. So, who's your team?
The Nashville Predators, of course.
All right. What do you think their prospects are for this coming season?
I'm excited. They've had some pretty big offseason moves. Steven Stamkos coming in, a couple other big ones, and they still got their big guys, Yossi and Forsberg. So I'm super excited. Resign Saros.
Yeah, I'm excited because June 2025, I have a speaking engagement in Nashville, and fingers crossed they'll be in the playoffs, and we'll be able to catch a game while we're there.
Oh yeah, it gets pretty rowdy.
Yeah, we're looking a little far out, but I'm still
Yeah.
excited for it because I agree. I think they have a heck of a team this year. So, one of the things you were talking about just a few minutes ago is about your journey, and I think that the journey for hockey players specifically, unless you either have been through it yourself or you've kind of rode that journey with a child, especially for male players to college, is a real unique one. What do you wish young players and just as important, their parents, knew about that journey?
Yeah, I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is it's really not a race, and late bloomers often come out on top. You don't have to um, be so focused on where you are at a certain place. That's something that we like to call an uncontrollable. You can't control, where you were born. You can't control that you were born in Hendersonville, Tennessee. You can't control your height, your weight, all that sort of things. And a lot of that stuff helps you later on as you're a late bloomer. So that's one of the main things. And then for parents, I guess be weary and be careful of what you spend your money on and your finances, because you can get stuck in the rat race of paying for every little thing, every piece of gear that's the highest end, every camp, every showcase, every travel. So I would just say do your research on where you're spending your money, talk to people, build relationships with people, and be weary of that. But players just stick with it. A lot of the times you might not make a team, and it looks like, hey, maybe I won't be able to play Division One. Hey, maybe I'm not going to play AAA. I'm too far down the road. They're not going to look at me at this stage. But that's not the case at all. So just stay on that journey. Trust the process, because the process often takes longer than you would ever imagine in anything in life, in business, and whatever it is. It takes longer than you would think and that you would often hope. So those are my kind of big 3 points.
So I don't have to buy the new stick that's 1/100th of a gram lighter that's coming out in a few weeks.
Exactly. You can use the stick doesn't make you better. It's not the stick's fault.
Yeah, we always say in my house, it's not the wand, it's the wizard, right? You know,
That's a good one. I like that.
but I'll date myself. I used to buy Sherwood 5030s that were a lot heavier than sticks today by the dozen. So
Yeah.
and those guys I played with did just fine with those sticks. I mean, a lot better than I did. But let's take a shift now to player intro. Why, if you could give our listeners a background in terms of, what is player intro, and then what was the impetus behind you and your co-founder Joshua Caro to launch this company?
Yeah, so first, Player Intro is essentially the first platform ever where players can get direct access to the best coaches, experts, and hockey minds in the game for a fraction of the cost of, the traditional ways, maybe using an advisor or having another middleman type thing. We're essentially trying to democratize access to these people for a one-time marketplace style cost, so they can go on and browse different coaches and experts and minds, select one, whichever one that can speak exactly to their situation. Maybe it's a team they want to play for, maybe it's something they want to learn about the hockey process, maybe it's what scouts look for, whatever it is. You can hand select who exactly you want to talk to and hear that information directly from the source, which is something we're super excited about. And kind of our mission and reason for creating this is, like I said, we want to give everyone access to anyone. I mean, growing up in a non-traditional market, we didn't have access to the coaches, to the scouts, to the knowledge, the information. We didn't know what we were doing, and neither did our parents. And we're trying to create that avenue for these young hockey families, and eventually other sports families to pursue this information and to save hockey families money in the process. There's no use in spending, 5 to 10 grand, 3 to 5 grand, whatever it is, on an advisor when you can speak directly to the source and get the information you need and build those relationships and connections directly. And that's something that we're super passionate about as far as saving families money. And um so yeah, that's kind of the how player intro works, what it is, and what players and parents can gain from it.
Imagine a relationship where financial conversations don't feel stressful, but actually bring you joy. We've designed a guide to help you have positive, meaningful money conversations with your partner. This isn't just another budgeting tool, it's a roadmap for building trust and connection. So if you're ready to start a joyful money journey with your partner, go to mitlin.us/couplesjoy and download your free guide. Transform your financial future together starting today. So, just so I understand this, am I having a one-on-one interaction with this coach scout individual? Is it a like a video call? Is it an email interaction, text? What exactly happens through that process?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, so a player and parent come on the platform, they select whatever expert they want to talk to. Once that selection is made, they go ahead and book them, confirm the booking, and then it's a one-on-one video call that they can share screen, they can talk directly to the person. They can do essentially whatever they want on the call. The whole idea though is for the call to be player initiated and player led. So the idea is players build up their conversational skills so they're able to talk to these coaches, which is going to be important down the road and a good lesson to learn in life in general. So they come prepared with their questions, what they want to learn, what they want to know from the expert. And then this all takes place via one-on-one video call and direct access to the best experts in the game that previously weren't available. I mean, you can say, "Oh, I can cold email them." You can, but often they don't respond, or they have no obligation to give you a full response that's insightful and things like that. And often they don't have the time to. So this is an alternative to that method that we're again super excited about.
Yeah, and I think you emphasize something, or I want to emphasize something very important there, right? This should be a player led initiative, right? Because at the end of the day, as these players move up, and it may be different, a little bit different for like an 8 or 9 year old versus a 12, 13, 14-year old and up, right? But as they move up through that, that those age groups, the coaches, the scouts, et cetera, are looking for the player to be responsible for their career and be able to have these conversations and speak with them and be able to initiate and take feedback and share, et cetera, right? Which
Exactly.
sounds like that's really what you're trying to encourage through this platform as well.
Exactly, and you're spot on. And we always say that coaches and scouts and experts, they've always had the opportunity to pursue whatever player they wanted. Coaches could find a player that can get their information pretty easily. They can pursue the player. And we're trying to flip that script and allow players to actually pursue the coach and pursue the scout and pursue the expert that they want to talk to specifically.
Yeah, I think that's great. And in a very short time, you've secured major sponsors like Howie's Hockey, Neutral Zone, and the Hockey Intelligim. What advice do you have for young entrepreneurs, young on their entrepreneurial journey who are seeking sponsors? Because I think that tends to be a challenge for younger companies in trying to ascertain those larger name sponsors, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look at these companies more as mutually beneficial partnerships. And the big thing that I think piqued their interest for us is they believed in our mission so much as far as helping hockey families and saving families money, and doing the right thing and things like that. And we pitched our platform, pitched our mission, and they had similar missions. And we like to say that we look for and tend to only partner with companies that are in favor of the families and they aren't trying to line their pockets with families money and things like that. So we've had awesome conversations with some of these companies, and the neutral zone guys have been amazing and great mentors for us as well as far as navigating the hockey business landscape. And so yeah, it's just been a combination of having similar missions, having similar goals, and believing in each other.
So really, as an entrepreneur, what I'm hearing is you really need to know your why and be able to communicate that, and hopefully that alignment, if you have other companies that align with you, they'll be there to support you, financially, as well as from a mentor standpoint as well.
Absolutely, you're spot on, and just having that mission is very, very important. If we were coming to them with maybe a different mission or one that wasn't in favor of the hockey families or wasn't good for the hockey landscape or the youth sports landscape in general, I don't think we would have received the same openness. So you're exactly right.
Yeah, that's great. And we talk about your why all the time, whether it's a business, whether it's a family, whether it's just you as a person, having that why, is so important. It makes it easier to make those decisions along the way by having that, ingrained in you. So, let's talk about this expert, these experts that you have on your platform. How have you gone about cultivating those? Is it the experts are reaching out to you, or are you reaching out to them? Do they need to have certain qualifications to even be on the platform? How do you go about cultivating these folks?
With the marketplace style platform, we have a little bit of the chicken and the egg problem as far as who do we pursue first? So we get all the experts on, and build, kind of the supply side, or do we have players and parents ready but no one for them to look at first. So we went with the expert side first and tried to build out, and find as many experts as possible, starting with our internal connections, people that we played for, that we knew from the hockey landscape. Had an initial batch of 5 experts on, and those guys were awesome in pushing it out to their friends and then their friends, and word spread, and we've continued to have more experts joined via us reaching out. And alternatively, we've had a lot of guys come on organically, guys and gals come on organically and start to join the platform and see the value. And it kind of ties back into the last question as far as our mission. A lot of these experts believe that And also they want to hear from players and parents directly. They like talking, they like teaching, they like coaching. That's why they're experts, and so they're super excited about this marketplace style, and they believe in the mission again. So as far as finding the initial experts, just to answer your question, a lot of cold reaching out to people we don't know, a lot of reaching into our internal connections and kind of saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. Would you guys um, come on as an expert and kind of try this thing out for us?" And they've been awesome. And then just expansion from there organically, and we're continuing to pursue other coaches and other experts. And we have really exciting plans with the NCAA. We have some things going on there to hopefully get those coaches on where young players can actually talk to NCAA coaches as well. So we're a lot of exciting things in the background as far as getting experts on and things like that. So we're very, very optimistic.
Yeah, and I love that you started with people that you knew, your network, because we talk about all the time, your network equals your net worth, right? In
Yes.
many regards, having that network and being able to tap in, you can get anything you need or want from your network typically. So utilizing that is amazing. One thing I would ask you is, are you familiar with the coaches site and Aaron Wilbur? Are you familiar with that platform?
Yes, I am familiar with that platform, and I've actually Dave Starman connected me
Yeah.
with Aaron. We haven't had the chance to talk quite yet, but I'm trying to get in contact with him and hopefully have a great conversation and sharing similar missions. And they're doing a great job there. I just saw their um,
Their conference that they had in June. Yeah,
together,
yeah.
yeah, conference. Yep, exactly, and it looked like a huge success. So they're doing a great job.
Yeah, and we've had both those people, Dave Starman, and I don't know what episode he was on
Oh,
off the
no
top of
way.
my head, and we had Aaron Wilbur on the show as well. And Aaron and I met up in person in Calgary when my son was playing out there earlier this year. So I'll try to further enhance that connection for you as well.
Thank you.
And you alluded to or mentioned NCAA coaches, for example, and what seems to be a bunch of changes around NCAA sports in general, right? What advice do you have for players that are looking to and want to play college hockey?
Yeah, I would say just do your research on different schools, different education paths, different coaches, different players, their styles. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to play college hockey, um, you might as well put your all into the education as well. Hockey's not always going to be there. At some time it's going to end, and I think it's really, really important for players to be well rounded in their education as well. So they're prepared for life after sports and life after hockey, which is, it often comes fast for a lot of these players and a lot of these guys. And it's unfortunate to see sometimes guys struggle with life after hockey. And so, my biggest point for current NCAA players and players wanting to play NCAA is to make sure you're well rounded outside of hockey as well. Have other things that you're interested in and that you want to learn about. And because if you put all your eggs in one basket as you're playing, you'll go through those really, really highs, really, really lows, and it'll affect your mental health because you're so focused on the game. And if you have a bad game, then everything else in your life turns bad. So I think that's really important for players um, to acknowledge and realize and understand. And as far as getting to NCAA, the biggest thing, like I said earlier, is just control what you can control and be where your feet are. If you have to play junior B or you have to play tier 3 or whatever it is, be the absolute best player in that league, and people are going to notice. And as long as you continue to excel where you are, good things are going to happen. And don't worry too much about things you can't control, and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, great advice. And I think about that whole path because even if you have a very long career, right, as a hockey player, maybe you're retired by 40, right? You have a long career, you're 40, you still have a whole, life ahead of you to do other things. So having that backup and having other things to do are certainly beneficial, and that well roundedness is certainly helpful. Um, You know you talked about it earlier with some of your experiences in different leagues. You mentioned the USHL, you mentioned the BCHL. We've talked about the NCAA. There's also the NAL. There's also the AJHL. It's almost like an alphabet soup of letters when it comes to all these
Mhm.
leagues. What resources, besides your platform, of course, do you recommend for players and their families? Are there other tools out there that they should be looking at as well?
I would direct them first to all the free resources, the different Facebook groups where people put out good information, even social media, Twitter accounts that you can follow. That I know Topher Scott has a really good Twitter account, and he
He's been on
posts.
the show too.
There you go. Yeah, he's awesome. He posts a
Yes.
lot of good stuff for families, newsletters, books. There's tons of free stuff that you can get out there where you can kind of hone knowledge and figure out what's going on. Even just if you want to search, what are the different junior leagues and just learn kind of what the levels are, how the pyramid looks, what the different tiers are. And you can get a lot from just kind of going into detective mode and investigating different things um, so yeah, I would point them first to the free resource. Then obviously, once there's a serious element and things, and you want to pursue an expert for specific advice, player intro is always going to be your number one option there. So yeah, but before that, you don't need to pay for advice from a third party or anything that right now, especially for young players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let them have fun, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And we talked about, with your platform having the player drive the process. And as I mentioned, I think that's so vitally important, especially as these players progress. So and I feel like one of the best things about hockey is, and this is with the caveat that if parents allow it to happen, it teaches a lot of valuable lessons. And I've seen it from my playing through college and continuing to play, recreationally. I've seen it with my boys. What advice do you have for parents who may be struggling with letting their child drive the process? And the only thing I would say is I kind of caution this a little bit in saying that the way they drive the process is much different at 8 than at 15. But for those parents who might be hesitant, what advice do you have for them to allow them to drive this process a little bit more?
Yeah, I would just say you have to let them make their own decisions, make their own mistakes, build their own relationships, get knocked down, learn things, learn to communicate. It's gonna set them up so much for life. I feel like I've aged, 20 years just from all the things I've gone through in hockey and having to pick myself up and make hard decisions and talk to adults and just all the things you learn through hockey. So I think it's very, very important for parents to just I know it's hard. I don't have kids yet. I'm 24, but it's very difficult for parents to step back and kind of let their child fall on their face and not make teams and get cut and get scratched and whatever it is. It's super important to let them go through those lessons because they're going to come out on the other side much better as a hockey player and more importantly as a human and a person within society, whatever they want to do. It's These are important lessons and lessons that they're going to either learn in hockey and learn early on, or they're going to get punched in the face their first couple years working in the real world and they won't know what to do. So it's something that parents are are gonna see eventually, but it's super important and it's taught me a ton of lessons and it's completely invaluable in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, teaching that resiliency even at younger ages, because like you said, when they get out in the real world, not everything's going to go their way. They're going to have tough situations with coworkers, with, maybe their employer, maybe with a significant other. And although you're not a parent, right, talking to the kids, you're somebody who went through this. And I could tell by what you're saying, and I think I know the answer to this question. Do you feel like you would be who you are today and where you are today if you weren't able to have driven that process for yourself?
Absolutely not. If my parents were coming in and talking to the coach for me and saving me from situations and bailing me out, I wouldn't be near the person I am today. And it's all the lessons you learn, whether it's just living in a different place and trying to ingrain yourself in a billet family and trying to ingrain yourself in a new team and having to make new friends and getting traded and having to pack up your stuff same day and move to a different team. And there's just so many. I could go down the list of things you learn and lessons that you take from hockey.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you're not a hockey family and you're listening to the show and you're a baseball or soccer family and you're hearing about kids, basically kids getting traded, packing up their stuff, living with other, you hear all this stuff and you're like, I don't understand it, and it's like it's hard to understand. But I think that that is something so valuable from the game that imparts upon the players that if they're willing to accept it, deal with it, and use it as a learning experience, it's invaluable. And I think that that's why when hockey players get into the real world, so to speak, employers who know the hockey world are more inclined to hire a hockey player, over maybe somebody else, because like you said, they may have moved away from home at a young age, lived on their own, lived with another family. They know how to navigate these things, and those things are invaluable in, once you get out of the hockey world and into the quote unquote real world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it best. I mean, the ability to adapt and deal with adversity, it's very, very difficult to teach them in a normal process. And a lot of the times growing up, I was a little bit jealous of kids that got the normal high school experience. They had it kind of easier, and they got to go to the high school football games while I was, in British Columbia, sitting in my billet house room. And but looking back, just everything I took from it and everything I learned as I mature, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And it's just such a blessing in disguise because you don't always know that when you're going through it.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And thank you for sharing that, Lucas. And, it's been great having you on the show. And we ask each of our guests the same final question because we're all about joy on the Mitlin Money Mindset. And that is, what did you do today that brought you joy and put you in the right mindset for success?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that you guys do that because it's just it makes you smile just thinking about it. But
Thank you.
but yeah, just the little things brought me joy today. Getting up, going to the gym, having a healthy body, talking to my sister on the phone and my family, and getting connected with them this morning, getting to meet you guys and make new connections and meet new people. And business is often a lonely endeavor for the most part, and it doesn't have to be. And so it's just awesome, and I've found a ton of joy in meeting you, Larry, and getting to do this and all the other things I mentioned. So I'm blessed beyond what I deserve. So I appreciate you having me on, and this has been just amazing.
Thanks, Lucas. We're grateful you came on and shared your story. And, we're going to have all of your information in the show notes. But if people want to learn more about you, want to learn more about Player Intro, what's the easiest and the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to go to playerintro.com or at playerintro on X. And then me personally is at Bon Lucas on X. You can find me there, and we're super excited to interact with you. And it's a new model, new way of doing things. So we're happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you for sharing. We look forward to watching yours and Player Intro's journey. And thank you for carving out this time to share with us, and enjoy your day.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. Likewise.
I want to thank Lucas Bahn for being a guest on the Mitlin Money Mindset. Lucas has helped create a platform that helps players from all circumstances and geographies connect with and get exposed to those that can help them further their career. Players no longer need to be concerned that they may not get seen, as Player Intro allows them to be found, and that is because of Player Intro. Lucas Bahn and Player Intro can be found across most social media platforms. All the contact information needed to find them can be found in the show notes.